All right, so what we got here is a power steering column from an 01 Prius, and we're gonna be installing this in the car. Seeing that this car has only manual steering, it only makes sense to have some power behind it. It's gonna keep me from having to put any load on the engine. So this is the best installation for this vehicle. So let's just go ahead and start putting this together. So right about here, we got about 5 inches in the front. Let me get across here from front to back, about 9 inches. All right, so the next measurements I want to take is from the steering knuckle inside here, going down to this steering knuckle here. Just get a measurement from outside the car, just eyeballing it basically. So it's gonna be about 14 inches. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and take a measurement here now. From bolt to bolt is about 5 inches. So that's good. From front to back, we're supposed to have 9 inches. So, like I said, this is adjustable. So from bolt to bolt, got about 9 inches there. Let's take a measurement here from knuckle to knuckle, supposed to be 14 inches. Well, it's a little shy of 14 inches. This is fully extended. So we may have to do some modifications to the shaft here. I'm not gonna extend it. I don't wanna cut anything on this. I really don't wanna modify anything. It should work pretty good. Let's go ahead and start to pull out the steering column in the car. All right, so I got the steering column out of the car now. I compared them both side to side. Basically, in the front here, we have the two that are pretty much similar. The only difference right now, what I'm seeing is the shaft length. I'm gonna have to just figure out how I'm gonna get this working. I don't wanna have to cut anything or weld anything because this is your steering shaft and you don't want to modify it by welding anything and have any cracks later on, because this is what controls your car. So what I want to do is try to put this new one in and try to see how much I can get it snugged up, and then we'll figure out the shaft later. But right now I want to try to get this to see if it even fits. If I got to cut, I got to cut. I'm not putting in the old shaft, so that's out of there, but this is definitely going in. I'm gonna figure out a way to get this shaft lengthened, and yeah, we're gonna get this thing working. Let's go ahead and try to install this. All right, so we got this just held in with the 2 front bolts. This is how low the motor is sitting. Obviously, it's way too low, but I have the idea of like, this is gonna swing up, way up into this, this little cavity area right here. And that'll give it enough space to be able to hunker right up in this little space right here. So, okay, so right about here is where I'm gonna have to cut along this bracket and on the inside here to be able to flip this motor upwards, and hopefully it passes this overall bracket where it could sit a little high on top of here inside this cavity where the dash goes. It will obviously interfere with the air con system, which is going to come in here because this motor is going to stick probably about here. Air con system's way back here, so that will be a problem that I'll fix later on, but right now I want to get this in. So I'm gonna go ahead and start cutting this out in here, try to flip it up and see what I got to play with. All right, so we're looking good on the first cut. I got this really high in the this little area here. What I want to do now is try to cut out a little bit more of this rear area and a little bit of this support, which is that support right there, that little bolt right there supports the bracket for the brake. And I had to cut the bolt that held the original steering column in the rear. I'm gonna take out more of this area right across here, take out that bolt area. Yeah, so I'm just gonna have to go ahead and make some custom brackets for this new steering column to hold the back pivot area for the new column. So what I'm gonna do is just go ahead and start cutting a little bit more, cut underneath there so I can get this tucked a little bit more. Yeah, so underneath here is looking pretty good. I just wanna cut, like I said, a little bit more across here. I'm gonna go ahead and start to cut a little bit more and give myself some more space. Okay, so I pretty much got this where I want it to be. Looking pretty good, pretty snugged up. I was able to cut out the extra little piece in the back here. So everything back here is basically cut out. I was able to bring this up a lot. And the only thing that's really giving me a little issue is the little brake pedal. Hits right on the edge, right around that area there where the motor hits. So I'm gonna cut that out a little bit more. And pretty much that's everything. Like I said, it's a nice height now. I could get my foot, got a lot of clearance. It's way up into the column. So yeah, it looks pretty good. So far, so good. The only thing, like I said, I need to get that pivot point right there. I had to get this pivot point a little bit more straight, and that's due to the, like I said, the brake pedal being in the way. So once I clear that area there, the pivot point should be a little bit straighter where I can make my brackets straight on and everything will line up, pivot correctly, and yeah, pretty much good with this. Yeah, so it's getting kind of late right now, so I'm just gonna go ahead and cut you on in the morning. All right, so I'm back at it again. I'm gonna go ahead and continue working on that steering column there. What I did yesterday, I had to go and cut the brake support a little bit. Then I'm gonna go ahead and start doing some cardboard aided design to get the brackets for the rear mount of the column. So once I get that in, pretty much is all going to be good, and I just have to work on the collar for the actual steering shaft itself that connects to the rack and pinion. So see what we could do. All right, so I got my two templates made up, cut out, kind of thin, but I'm gonna be using another piece of metal to gusset the piece itself. So it's gonna be stronger than this little thin piece. So what I'm gonna do now is just go ahead and transfer it over to metal and keep it rocking. Okay, so I was able to go ahead and finish this up. Brackets are looking real nice, nice and sturdy, strong. So I'm gonna go ahead and install back in the steering column. Before I do that, I want to take out this brake one more time, paint the bracket because I don't like the rust, even though it's going to be underneath the dash. I still don't like rust because rust forms and creates more rust. So I'm gonna go take that out, give it a little bit of paint, let it dry, then I'll come back. Or while that's drying, I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna shoot this area here since it's bare metal. Shoot this with some paint too, and get that nice and knocked out. And then put everything back in, put in the steering column, and then I'll jump on that area right here where the rack and pinion is. Try to figure out where I'm gonna do with that area, and yeah, I'm gonna just keep moving forward until I get it done. So let's go. All right, so I have once again pulled this steering column out. What I have planned to do to connect the old steering column to the new steering column is right about here. I'm going to be cutting these tabs off for the knuckle itself. That will give me this area right here to extend out with a piece of galvanized Schedule 40 pipe. It's about a 1-inch that I found laying around the house. So what I'm gonna do is just cut it flat. I'm gonna tack it on there, and then on the old shaft, what I plan on doing is cutting off this old collar extension and just using this knuckle itself to attach it to the steering rack, and then I will get my measurements in between to attach it here, and also, like I said, here it'll be attached. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is pull out the grinder, cut across here, cut off this extension piece here, and get my pipe ready. I'll probably set back in the column and set this in where it needs to be. Probably give this a little bit of slack in between. What I did notice inside the car, with this fully extended, I do clear the firewall with this knuckle. If it was pushed back a little bit more, I probably will be running into this little knuckle area. So I don't know how much slack it will have once I get it in, if it'll be away from the firewall, so I don't have any kind of pivot, any kind of movement inside the area where the firewall is. Should be good. That's why I wanted to cut this right about here and get rid of this knuckle, because I don't want any more extensions or any other pivot points to give it any slack to slap around. So what I'm just going to do, like I said, cut and weld. All right, so I got the pipe connected to the lower knuckle. Overall length of everything, this will be the overall length for the new knuckle, for the new shaft, which will be from here all the way up here. As you can see, the old shaft is next to it. I lined it up where the old knuckle was. So this is the extension for the new knuckle, the cutoff for the new knuckle, for the new shaft, and the extension. So I probably got about like 4 inches across here. I think that's how much I needed. Hopefully it fits. I want to get rid of these threads. I don't want to weld onto the threaded area. I want to weld onto the pipe. So I'm going to put everything back in the car, put the shaft back on the column, and put the shaft on the steering rack and get the adjustment, get the length. This is fully extended also, so it should be able to reach fully extended. When it was in the car, the knuckle was right here at the firewall, probably right here at the firewall. So this should be enough to make it to the steering rack. And yeah, let me go ahead and do this, put everything back in, and then pull it out once again to finally get the measurement to cut and weld it up to this new shaft here. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so I installed everything back in. The shaft is running down now down to the steering rack, and now what I did is push the extension for the column up into this pocket area for the Fiero. So I'm going to use this as an area where this bulky area is for the new column, and I'm going to weld this pipe inside this area here. It still has room to pivot in and out. I pushed it in, so it still has room to actually go up to allow room for this column to be able to push out. What I'm going to do now is make a mark right there where the pipe is, and that's going to be my cut line for that, and I'm going to weld up everything and finalize this little project here. So let's go ahead and mark up everything. Okay, so I pulled it back out again. These are my marks where I have. This is where I wanted, this mark here is where I wanted to sit in the firewall. I extended it out to the full extension, this piece here, in order to give it some space for the knuckle to actually sit inside the steering column itself. So what I want to do now, I think I'm going to just keep a mark in between. Yeah, I'm going to make a mark in between these two marks of where I want it to sit. That'll give me enough room to be able to slide this shaft in and out off the steering rack itself in order to remove whatever I got to remove, and it will still have space in order for this to be able to have enough meat to be able to turn. So what I'm going to do here, like I said, mark in between the two of these marks, and that's going to be my cut line. And then I'm just going to go ahead and weld it up and test it once again in the car, see how everything lines up, and hopefully we'll be done with this project. So let's keep moving on. I went ahead and cleaned this up. Looks nice. Put a little bit of clear coat over it so it doesn't rust back. Looks pretty good. I'm going to install it back in the car once the clear coat dries a little bit. It was still hot, So what I'm gonna do is go ahead and give this a couple of minutes, install it back in the car, and that'll be it for the video. So cut you back on in a few. All right, so that pretty much wraps up the end of this video. I hope this video was a little bit more informative. I had a couple subscribers ask to explain more of what I was doing, processing wise. Yeah, so I hope this helped you out. For anybody that's gonna do this type of installation, it took me about 3 days to actually get it done. In actuality, if you had everything planned out, it would actually take you probably about a day to do. So it was a pretty simple job, few modifications, everything went smoothly. It's working now. So that's pretty much it. If you liked the video, go ahead, hit the subscribe button down below, leave a like, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.